Working? Can you see me? Yep, let me check. Oh, that always pops up. Hello, this is Lucas McFarland. A lot of big sports highlights in the last week. Robert Kraft pled not guilty to prostitution and show he's probably guilty. Another thing was Bryce Harper finally signed with the Phillies. He had a 13-year deal. Want to get into that really quick. So Bryce Harper's with JT Romero, Andrew McCutchen, Gene Segura. I think that's a good little hitting lineup, 1 through 4 for the Phillies. I don't know how it's going to affect the whole NL East. The Nats are pretty good. They got Turner and Eaton and Ian Gomes. They signed. The Braves have Freeman, Donaldson, McCann, Flowers, Acuna Jr. And they have a lot of people too. The Mets, they got Cano, Frazier, Diaz, maybe Cespedes if he comes back. There's a lot of pieces in the NL East. I think that's the most unpredictable division. But Bryce Harper signing, that's huge for the Phillies. They got a good little roster. I don't know if it's going to mix all together. I think they're still a third place team. We'll get into more of the MLB standings predictions next week, or maybe in 2 weeks or so. The next 2 weeks, we're going to do like tournament, and baseball stuff. The next 2 weeks, our next two podcasts are going to be huge, so it might last an hour based on the tournaments for the conference tournaments and also the tournament, like the whole big dance, big 68 teams, and the MLB season, my predictions and who's playing, just for those two games. And then the next 3 weeks are big too, because MLB starts on the 28th as well. But I want to do a preview of the next 2 weeks or so and just figure it out. Wanted to go over the college basketball game since last Tuesday. Tonight, an early one between Xavier and Butler at 6 on FS1. Wake Forest at 4th ranked Duke. Excuse me, at 7 on ESPN. Zion Williamson's still out. Nebraska's at 9th ranked Michigan State at 7 on ESPN2. 15th ranked Virginia Tech at 14th ranked Florida State at 7 on ESPNU. 19th ranked Buffalo's at Ohio at 7 on ESPN Plus. Bowling Green's at Akron at 7 on ESPN Plus. Ball State's at Eastern on 7 on ESPN Plus. South Carolina's at Texas A&M at 7 on SEC Network. Northern Illinois is at Central Michigan at 7 on ESPN Plus. Western Michigan's at Toledo at 7 on ESPN Plus. Rhode Island's at St. Joe at 7 on CBS Sports Network. Kent State's at Miami of Ohio at 7 on ESPN Plus. UMass at Vermont's at 7:20 on ESPN Plus. Third rate North Carolina's at Boston College at 8 on ACC Network. VCU's at George Mason at 7:30, by the way. 11th ranked Purdue's at Minnesota at 8 on Big Ten Network. Pittsburgh's at Miami at 8 on ACC Network. Mississippi State's at 5th ranked Tennessee at 9 on SEC Network. 6th ranked Kentucky's at Ole Miss at 9 on ESPN. 13th ranked Kansas at Oklahoma at 9 on ESPN2. Auburn's at Alabama at 9 on ESPNU. East Carolina's at Wichita State at 9 on the CBS Sports Network. Utah State's at Colorado State at 9. 17th ranked Nevada's at Air Force at 11 p.m. Nevada and Utah State had a little brawl that made Nevada people pissed off. I think it was through the handshake. It pissed off more in Nevada after they lost to Utah State. It was almost a brawl with the fans and the spectators and the players for Nevada. So there was a violent fight, almost a violent fight. Prayers to all affected. Since last Tuesday, the 26th, which was the last time I did my podcast, we'll review all the matchups and then the standings and the bracketology updates. Third ranked Duke was at 20th ranked Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech actually beat Duke 77-72. Arkansas was at 4th ranked Kentucky. Kentucky won 70-66. Syracuse is at 5th ranked North Carolina. North Carolina won 93-85. Texas A&M was at 13th ranked LSU. LSU won 66-55. Double overtime game. Missed this one a little bit at the end because of work. 19th ranked Wisconsin was at IU. IU won 75-73 in double overtime. Akron was at 21st ranked Buffalo. Buffalo won 77-64. 22nd ranked Iowa was at Ohio State. Ohio State won 90-70. Miami was at Wake Forest. Wake Forest won 76-75. Alabama was at South Carolina. Alabama won 68-62. Missouri was at Mississippi State. Mississippi State won 68-49. Providence was at Butler. Providence won 73-67 in overtime. Another 3 overtime one. TCU at West Virginia. West Virginia won 104-96 in 3 overtimes. That's a big one. Toledo was at Ball State. Toledo won 80-72 over Ball State. George Washington was at Rhode Island. Rhode Island won 80-53 over George Washington. Dayton was at UMass. Dayton won big 72-48. Ohio was at Kent State. Kent State won 78-73. Miami of Ohio was at Bowling Green. Miami of Ohio won 82-69. Central Michigan was at Eastern Michigan. CMU won 77-66. Western Michigan at Northern Illinois. NIU won 70-65. Let's see here. Temple was at Memphis. Memphis won 81-73. San Diego State was at Utah State. Utah State won 70-54. New Mexico was at San Jose State. San Jose State won 89-82. And those are the big ones from last Tuesday, the 26th, Wednesday the 27th. Georgia Tech was at second ranked Virginia. Virginia won big 81-51. I think they're the best team in the nation right now, other than Gonzaga. Seventh ranked Tennessee was at Ole Miss. Tennessee won 73-71. Eighth ranked Houston was at East Carolina. Houston won 99-65. 10th ranked Marquette was at Villanova. Villanova upset Marquette 67-61. Oklahoma State was at 11th ranked Texas Tech. Texas Tech won 84-80 in overtime. UNLV was at Nevada, 12th ranked. Nevada won 89-73. Illinois is at 14th ranked Purdue. Purdue won 73-56. 17th ranked Maryland was at Penn State. Penn State won 78-61. And 23rd ranked Cincinnati was at SMU. Cincinnati won 52-49. Clemson was at Pittsburgh. Clemson won 62-48. DePaul was at Georgetown. Georgetown won 82-73. UCF was at South Florida. UCF won 75-63. Let's see here. Richmond at George Mason. George Mason won 77-63. New Hampshire at Albany. New Hampshire won 62-58. Other big ones, Lehigh at American. Lehigh won 80-66. Loyola Marymount at Army. Army won 79-69. Boston at Lafayette. Boston won 80-82. Bucknell at Navy. Navy won 64-53. Other big ones that night, I'm looking here. Colorado State at Boise State. Colorado State won 76-62. St. Joe at Fordham. St. Joe won 66-52. Texas at Baylor. Baylor won 84-83 in overtime. Auburn was at Georgia. Auburn won 78-75. Florida was at Vanderbilt. Florida won 71-55. Louisville was at Boston College. Boston College won 66-59. Wyoming was at Fresno State. Fresno State won 71-60. Thursday the 28th, which was last Thursday. First ranked Gonzaga was at Pacific. Gonzaga won 86-66. Nebraska was at 9th ranked Michigan. Michigan won 82-53. 24th ranked Wofford was at Chattanooga. Wofford won 80-54. 25th ranked Cincinnati was at California. Cal won 76-73 in an upset. Xavier was at St. John's. Xavier won 84-73 over St. John's. UConn was at Wichita State. Wichita State won 65-63 on a buzzer beater. I watched that live. Arkansas State at Georgia State. Georgia State won 76-60. Texas State at Troy. Texas State won 58-44. Little Rock at Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern won 81-66. UMCK at New Mexico State. New Mexico State won 75-55. Let's see. Western Kentucky at UAB. Western Kentucky won 73-67. Marshall at Louisiana Tech. Marshall won 90-79. Wright State at Green Bay. Green Bay won 70-67. Murray State at Morehead State. Murray State won 71-52. Florida Atlantic at North Texas. Florida Atlantic won 60-54. Old Dominion at UTSA. Old Dominion won 65-64. Tulane at Tulsa. Tulsa won 72-64. Minnesota at Northwestern. Minnesota won 62-50. Pac-12 games. Arizona at Oregon State. Arizona won 74-72. Washington State at Stanford. Stanford won big 98-50 over Washington State. USC at UCLA in overtime. UCLA won 93-88. Other Pac-12 games. Arizona State at Oregon. Oregon won 79-51 over Arizona State. Santa Clara at Loyola Marymount. Loyola Marymount won 72-70. And Portland St. Mary's. St. Mary's won 65-48. Which on Friday the 1st, the first day in March, 21st ranked Buffalo was at Miami, Ohio. Buffalo won 77-69. Kent State at Bowling Green. Bowling Green won 77-72. Rhode Island at Dayton. Rhode Island won 72-70 over Dayton in overtime. Cornell at Yale. Yale won 88-65. Princeton at Dartmouth. Princeton won 77-76 in overtime. And those were the big ones on Friday the 1st. Saturday the 2nd, a lot of good ones. First ranked Gonzaga was at St. Mary's. Gonzaga won 69-55. Pittsburgh was at second ranked Virginia. Virginia won 73-49 big. Miami at third ranked Duke. Duke won big 87-57. Fourth ranked Kentucky at seventh ranked Tennessee. Tennessee got their payback big. They won 71-52. Fifth ranked North Carolina at Clemson. North Carolina won 81-79 at Clemson. Sixth ranked MSU at IU. IU won their second straight upset Michigan State 63-62. UCF at eighth ranked Houston. Central Florida won 69-64 at Houston to move them in the top 25. 11th ranked Texas Tech at TCU. Texas Tech won 81-66. They're a sleeper team. 12th ranked Nevada at Utah State. There was a brawl near the end of this game. Utah State won 81-76 at hosted Nevada. 12th ranked. 13th ranked LSU at Alabama. LSU won 74-69 over Alabama. Ohio State at 14th ranked Purdue. Purdue won 86-51. 15th ranked Kansas at Oklahoma State. Kansas won 72-67. Baylor at 16th ranked Kansas State. Kansas State won 66-60 over Baylor. NC State at 18th ranked Florida State. Florida State 178 to 73. Penn State at 19th ranked Wisconsin. Wisconsin 161 to 57. Rutgers got their payback at 22nd ranked Iowa. They won 86 to 72. Memphis at 23rd ranked Cincinnati. Cincinnati won 71 to 69. And 24th ranked Wofford at Sanford. Wofford won 85-64. Syracuse at Wake Forest not ranked games. Syracuse won big, 79 to 54. Excuse me. Army at Bucknell. Bucknell won 62-61 over Army. Navy at Boston U. Navy won 79 to 74. Ole Miss at Arkansas. Arkansas won 74 to 73. New Hampshire at UMBC. UMBC won 56 to 53. Fordham at Davidson. Davidson won 77-52. UMass at DeQuincy. DeQuincy won 80 to 73. Butler at Villanova. Villanova won 75-54, hosting Butler. Iowa State at Texas. Texas won 86-69. Iowa State's been slipping lately. West Virginia at Oklahoma. Oklahoma won big, 92 to 80. Ohio at Akron. Ohio won 73 to 49. Northern Iowa at Indiana State. Indiana State won 71-54. Illinois State, Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois won 72 to 63. Let's see here. At UT Arlington at Troy. Troy lost 79-66 to UT Arlington. George Mason at St. Louis. St. Louis won 81 to 71. New Mexico State, Chicago State. New Mexico State won 92-58. EMU at NIU. EMU beat NIU 75-69. South Carolina at Missouri. Missouri won 78 to 63. Mississippi State at Auburn. Auburn won 80 to 75 over Mississippi State. Other big ones: Robert Morris at Wagner. Robert Morris won 69 to 60. William Mary at James Madison. William Mary won 70 to 66. VCU at Richmond. VCU won 69-66 over Richmond. Other big ones I'm looking here. If I missed any, I'm trying not to miss any. UIC at Detroit Mercy. UIC won 80 to 71. IUPIU at Oakland. Oakland won 74 to 63. Let's see here. Ball State at Western. I was at a little bit of this one. Ball State won 60 to 58. Toledo at Central. Toledo won 80 to 68. Other big ones that Saturday: Air Force at Wyoming. Air Force won 80 to 72. Cleveland State at Youngstown State. Cleveland State won 89-80 in overtime. Bradley at Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago won 81 to 68. Utah at Colorado. Colorado won 71 to 63 over Utah. Vanderbilt at Texas A&M. A&M won 64 to 57. Double overtime game with Seton Hall and Georgetown. Georgetown won 77-71 in double overtime. Washington State at California. California won 76-69. Stony Brook at Vermont. Vermont won 56 to 50. Other big ones: Georgia at Florida. Georgia won 61-55 at Florida. Arizona at Oregon. Oregon won 73-47 over Arizona. Colorado State at New Mexico. New Mexico won 77-65. San Jose State at San Diego State. San Diego State won 84-56. Boise State at UNLV. UNLV won overtime 85-81. CSU Northridge at Hawaii. Hawaii lost 84 to 73. Those are the Saturday matchups. Sunday the 3rd. Oh yeah, we got the NASCAR to do too. We'll do that at the end. 9th ranked Michigan at 17th ranked Maryland. Michigan won 69-62. Creighton upset 10th ranked Marquette at Marquette 66-60. 25th ranked Washington beat Stanford 62-61. St. John's and DePaul. DePaul won 92-83 over St. John's. South Florida at UConn. UConn won 60-58. Notre Dame at Louisville, now unranked. I think Louisville won 75-61. Southern Miss at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky won 76-71. Appalachian State at Louisiana. Appalachian State won 90-80. Tulane at Temple. Temple won 80-60 Wichita State at SMU. Wichita State won 67-55. UTEP at Charlotte. Charlotte won 68-58. Louisiana Tech at Florida International. Florida International won 83-76. East Carolina at Tulsa. Tulsa won 91-78. Middle Tennessee at Rice. Rice won 67-61. UAB at UTSA. UTSA won 76-70. Let's see. Boston College at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech won 81-78 in overtime. Northwestern at Illinois. Illinois won 81-76. And Arizona State at Oregon State. Arizona State won 74-71. On Monday the 4th, which was last night, second-ranked Virginia outlasted Syracuse in the second half. It was close, 34-31. Syracuse at the half, but they couldn't shoot. Virginia won their third straight big game or by double digits. They won 79-53. Texas at 8th ranked Texas Tech. Texas Tech won 70-51. 18th ranked Kansas State at TCU. Kansas State won 64-52. And those were the big ones from last night. We already went over Tuesday's matchups, Wednesday through next week's matchups. 16th ranked Marquette's at Seton Hall at 6:30 on FS1 tomorrow. Missouri's at Georgia at 6:30 on SEC Network. 10th ranked LSU is at Florida in a rematch at 7 on ESPN2 when Florida beat LSU. Penn State's at Rutgers at 7 on Big Ten Network. Iowa State's at West Virginia at 7 on ESPNU. LaSalle's at Dayton at 7. St. Bonaventure at Davidson's at 7. Richmond at UMass is at 7. George Washington at Fordham's at 7. Let's see here. Youngstown State's at Oakland at 7. Detroit Mercy's at Northern Kentucky at 7. Louisiana Tech's at Florida Atlantic at 7. Florida National's at Marshall at 7. Rice is at Charlotte at 7. Southern Miss at Old Dominion at 7. Other big ones, South Florida's at Tulane at 8 on ESPN3. Twenty's at St. Louis at 8. Providence is at Creighton at 8 on CBS Sports Network. Georgetown's at DePaul at 8:30 on FS1. Arkansas's at Vanderbilt at 8:30 on SEC Network. Ohio State's at Northwestern at 9 on Big Ten Network. Clemson's at Notre Dame at 9 on ESPNU. Georgia Tech's at NC State at 9 on ACC Network. Oklahoma State's at Baylor at 9 on ESPN2. Not a lot of ranked teams playing. Boise State at New Mexico at 9 on ESPN3. Middle Tennessee at UTEP at 9. Fresno State at San Diego State at 10 on CBS Sports Network. Wyoming at San Jose State at 10. Oregon State at Washington at 10. Oregon at Washington State at 11 p.m. So those are the Wednesday matchups. Thursday at 7. Tournament matchups, Radford, Winthrop, Campbell, they're all in the tournament. St. Peter's at Marist at 5. There's games at noon. At 7 p.m., 20th ranked Cincinnati's at 25th ranked UCF at 7 on ESPN2. Iowa's at 21st ranked Wisconsin at 7 on ESPN. Troy's at Appalachian State at 7 on ESPN Plus. Temple's at UConn at 7 on CBS Sports Network. Army's at Lehigh at 7. Navy's at American at 7. Bucknell and Colgate are in the tournament playing somebody. So is Austin Peay. IU's at Illinois at 8 on FS1 on Thursday night. SMU's at 12th ranked Houston at 9 on ESPN. UCLA's at Colorado at 9 on ESPN2. Let's see, Niagara and Monmouth at 9. Pacific and Pepperdine at 9. USC's at Utah at 10. Hawaii's at UC Davis at 10. Cal's at Stanford at 11 p.m. and ESPNU. On Friday the 8th, Loyola Chicago is at home. They're at 105, or they're in the tournament. That's part of the tournament games. Bowling Green's at 19th ranked Buffalo at 6 on ESPNU. Akron's at Kent State at 6:30 on No Channel. Miami's at 15th ranked Virginia Tech at 7 on ESPN2. Minnesota's at 24th ranked Maryland at 7 on FS1. All the MAC games, a lot of MAC teams playing. NAU's at Ball State at 7. Miami of Ohio's at Ohio at 7. Eastern Michigan's at Toledo at 7. Central's at Western. I'll be at that one for sure at 7 on ESPN Plus. Harvard's at Cornell. St. Joe's at VCU at 9. Northern Iowa's at Southern Illinois at 9:35 on ESPNU. And tournament team Murray State is playing. So is Belmont at 8 and 10 on ESPNU. That's a tournament game. We'll get all the tournament games next week. Wofford's in the tournament too. They're at 22nd ranked at noon. That's one of their tournament games. This is the big Saturday one. 5th ranked Tennessee's at Auburn at noon on ESPN. 23rd ranked Villanova's at Seton Hall at noon on Fox. 14th ranked Florida State's at Wake Forest at noon. They host Virginia Tech, I think, tonight, 15th ranked. Syracuse at Clemson at noon. Notre Dame's at Pittsburgh at noon on ACC Network. Butler's at Providence at noon. TCU's at Texas on ESPN2. Florida Atlantic's at Marshall at noon. Georgia's at South Carolina at 1 on SEC Network. Florida's at 6th ranked Kentucky at 2. 8th ranked Texas Tech's at Iowa State on ESPN News. Baylor's at 13th ranked Kansas at 2 on ESPN. NC State's at Boston College at 2 on ACC Network. Texas A&M's at Mississippi State at 2. George Mason is at George Washington at 2. Troy's at Coastal Carolina at 2. So is South Alabama and Appalachian State. 11th ranked Purdue's at Northwestern on Big Ten Network at 2:30. Georgetown's at 16th ranked Marquette at 2:30 on Fox. UMBCK, it's at Chicago State at 3. UTSA at Southern Miss at 3. Old Dominion's at UAB at 3. Oregon State's at Washington State at 3 on Pac-12 Network. Old Miss at Missouri at 3:30 on SEC Network. Louisville's at 2nd ranked Virginia at 4 on ESPN. 25th ranked UCF's at Temple at 4 on ESPN2. West Virginia's at Oklahoma State at 4 on ESPN News. Arizona State's at Arizona at 4. Let's see here. Georgia State's at Georgia Southern at 5. USC's at Colorado at 5 on Pac-12 Network. St. John's at Xavier at 5 on Fox. Big one, 4th ranked Duke's at 3rd ranked North Carolina at 6 on ESPN. Oklahoma's at 18th ranked Kansas State at 6 on ESPN2. Also, let's see here, Alabama's at Arkansas at 6 on the SEC Network. Mexico's at Wyoming at 6 on ESPN3. Air Force at Boise at 7. San Jose State's at Fresno State at 7. UCLA's at Utah at 7 on Pac-12 Network. Dayton's at DeQuincy at 7. Maine's at Vermont at 7 on ESPN Plus. Another big one Saturday night. 7th ranked Michigan's at 9th ranked Michigan State at 8 on ESPN. Charlotte's at Rice. DePaul's at Creighton at 8 and FS1. Vanderbilt's at 10th ranked LSU and SEC Network. UTEP's at Middle Tennessee at 8:30. Let's see here. Tulsa's at Memphis at 9:30. Oregon's at Washington at 10. Hawaii's at CSU Fullerton at 10. San Diego State's at 17th ranked Nevada at 10:30 on SEC Network, and BYU has a tournament game at 11:59 on ESPN2. Those are the Saturday games. I see if there's any Sunday ones on the 10th, which is this week. Ooh, 12th ranked Houston's at 20th ranked Cincinnati at noon. Uh, Illinois at Penn State at 12 on FS1. Rutgers at IU at 12 on the Big Ten Network. UConn's at East Carolina at 2 on ESPNU. Iowa's at Nebraska at 2 on Big Ten Network. CBS has a game at 2:05. SMU's at South Florida at 4 on ESPNU. ESPN's got a game at 3. Another game on ESPNU at 8:30. That's a tournament game. That's in Albany. South Dakota's played in Purdue Fort Wayne at 9:30. Not a lot of big ones. And 21st ranked Wisconsin's at Ohio State at 4:30. SMU at South Florida at 4 on ESPNU. On the last day of the season, we'll go over all the brackets and stuff in the rankings for the tournaments next week. I'll go over the rankings right now for college basketball. I'm kind of in a rush. I gotta get somewhere. Gonzaga's first at 29-2. Second is Virginia at 26-2. My foot's fuzzy, so sorry guys. Third ranked North Carolina jumped Duke. They're 24-5. They jumped 2 spots. Fourth ranked Duke is 25-4. They dropped a spot. Tennessee moved up a spot. They're 26-3 and fifth. Sixth is Kentucky. They dropped 2 spots. They're 24-5. Michigan jumped 2 spots. They're 26-4 and 7. Eighth is Texas Tech. They're 24-5. They jumped 3 spots. MSU is ninth. They dropped down 23 and 6, 3 spots. LSU is 24-5. They moved up 3 spots. Purdue's 11th ranked. They're 22-7. They moved up 3 spots. Houston with their loss, they're 27-2. They dropped out of the top 10, 4 spots in 12. 13th ranked Kansas moved up 2 spots. They're 22-7. 14th ranked Florida State's 23-6. They moved up 4 spots. Virginia Tech's 15th. They're 22-6. They moved up 5 spots. 16th ranked Marquette is 23-6. They moved up to down 6 spots. 17th Nevada dropped 5 spots. They're 26-3. Kansas State is 22-7 and 18th. They dropped 2 spots. Buffalo moved up 2 spots. They're 26-3. 20th Cincinnati moved up 3 spots. They're 25-4. 21st ranked Wisconsin's 29. They dropped down 2 spots. Wofford's 26-4. They moved up 2 spots. Welcome back to the rankings. Villanova. They're 22-8. They moved up 3 spots. 24th ranked Maryland dropped 7 spots. They're 21-9. 25th ranked UCF moved up. They're in the top 25. They're 25-6. Teams that dropped from the rankings were 22nd ranked Iowa and 25th ranked Washington. Other teams receiving votes: Auburn, Mississippi State, Iowa State, Utah State, VCU, Washington, Louisville, New Mexico State, Baylor, Belmont, Old Dominion. Let's go over the standings really quick. I just do a quick roundup and then bracketology. My foot's so fuzzy. Sorry, guys. The American Eastern Conference, Vermont's 13-2. They're winning that one over Stony Brook by 2 games at 11-4. UMBC's 11-5, 2.5 games back. And Hartford's still in it, 10-5, 3 games back. The American Athletic Conference, there's a tie between Houston and Cincy. That's why a big one on Sunday for the lead officially at 14-2. UCF's 2 games back, 12-4, and Temple's 11-5 at 3 games back. The A10, Virginia Commonwealth's 14-2. 2 games back is Davidson at 12-4. Dayton's 11-5 at 3 games back. St. Bonaventure's 3 games back at 11-5. The ACC, Virginia's up at 15-2. North Carolina's right behind them at 14-2. Duke is a half game back at 13-3. Florida State and Virginia Tech tied for 4th. They play tonight. They're both 11-5. The Athletic Sun Conference, Liberty and Lipscomb are tied at 14-2. No one else can catch them. The Big 12 Conference, Texas Tech is 13-4. So is Kansas State. Kansas is 1.5 games back, 11-5. I don't think they're going to get the Big 12 maybe. They always 2.5 games back at 10-6. The Big East Conference, Villanova's leading that one at 13-4. Marquette's right behind them at 12-4. Georgetown Xavier, they're tied for third at 8-8. The Big Sky Conference, Montana has a 1-game lead over Northern Colorado at 15-3. Northern Colorado's 14-1. And Montana State's 11-7 in third. Excuse me. In the Big South, Radford and Campbell are tied at 12-4. Tied for third are Winthrop and Gardner-Webb at 10-6. The Big Ten Conference, Purdue's 15-3. Michigan's 15-4. Second place. Michigan State's 1 game back, 14-4. Wisconsin 12-6 in 4th. And Maryland's 12-7 in 5th. The Big West Conference, UC Irvine's 13-1. CSU Fullerton's 10-5 in 2nd. Hofstra is 15-3. Northeastern's 14-4, 1 game back. And Charleston's 12-6, 3 games back. The CUSA Old Dominion's leading at 13-3. Western Kentucky's 2.5 games back and 11-6. And UTSA's 3 games back at 10-6. The Horizon lead, Northern Kentucky's 13-5, tied with Wright State for the lead. Oakland's 2 games back at 11-7. Green Bay and UIC are 3 games back, tied for 4th at 10-8. The Ivy League, there's a two-way tie between Harvard and Yale at 9-3. Princeton's one game back at 8-4. Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, Iona's 12-6. There's four teams tied for second. Quinnipiac Riders, Siena, Canastas, they're all 11-7. Monmouth's out there and 6, 2 games back, 10-8. In the MAC conference in the East, Buffalo's up by 2 games. They're 14-2. Bowling Green's 12-4. That's for the MAC East lead. The MAC West lead, Toledo's got a 2 game lead. They're 11-5. Central's 2 games back at 9-7, and Eastern's 3 games back at 8-8. Milford State, they're 14-1 in the Mid Eastern Athletic Conference. Northern Carolina AT&T Aggies are 12-3 in second, and North Carolina Central is 10-5 in third. Missouri Valley Conference, Drake, Loyola Chicago are tied at 12-6, tied for third, or Missouri State and Southern Illinois at 10-8. The Mountain West Conference, Utah State's 14-3. Nevada's now in second, 13-3. San Diego State and Fresno State are tied 11-5. The Northeast Conference, Fahrenheit Dixon's 12-6. St. Francis is tied at 12-6 with them. Robert Morris is 11-7. So is Sacred Heart, tied for third. The Ohio Valley Conference, Belmont and Murray State are tied at 16-2. Jacksonville State and Austin Peay are down there in third, 15-3, and Austin Peay's 13-5 and fourth. The Pac-12, Washington's got a 3.5 game lead. They're 14-2. Arizona State's 11-6 in second. Tied for third are Oregon State, UCLA, and Utah at 9-7. The Patriot League, Colgate's 13-5, tied with Bucknell. Lehigh's 1 game back, 12-6. The SEC, there's a two-way tie for the lead. 14-2 Tennessee and LSU are there. Kentucky's in third, 11-3. That's for the lead for the SEC. The Southern Conference, Wofford's 18-0 still. They're undefeated in conference play. They're 22nd ranked. Along with Gonzaga, they're the only two undefeated teams ranked in their conference. They have a 3 game lead over UNC Greensboro at 15-3 in second. The Southland Conference, Sam Houston State's 15-1. Albion Christian's 12-4, 3 games back. New Orleans is 3.5 games back at 12-5. The Southwestern Athletic Conference, Prairie View A&M's 15-1. Texas Southern's 13-3 in second. The Summit League, South Dakota State's 14-2. Omaha's 13-3, 1 game back in second. The Sun Belt Conference, Georgia State's 12-5, tied with Georgia Southern and Texas State. That's a 3-way lead for the division. UT Arlington's 11-6 and 4th. First ring Gonzaga, they're won the West Coast Conference already. They wrapped it up. They're 16-0. St. Mary's and BYU are tied for second, 11-5. The Western Athletic Conference last one. Mexico State's 14-1. Utah Valley's 10-4. Grand Canyon's 10-4, tied for second. Now the bracketology updates for ESPN, what they have is the last thing I wanted to talk about. And then NFL rumors, NBA standings, and NHL and NASCAR. In the East, their prediction right now, Virginia's first ranked. They're good, though. They play the winner 16 seed Iona and Milford State. 8 seed Baylor played 9 seed VCU. 5 seed Maryland would seed against 12 seed Temple or Seton Hall. 4 seed LSU would seed against 13 seed Lipscomb. 6 seed Buffalo would seed against 11 seed St. John's. 3rd seed Houston would seed against 14 seed Yale. 7 seed Louisville would seed against 10 seed Oklahoma. 2nd seed Michigan State would seed against Loyola Chicago, 15 seed. I think it'd be Virginia and VCU. Then I think it'd be Seton Hall and LSU. Then I think it'd be St. John's and Houston. Then I think it'd be Oklahoma and Michigan State. Then I think it'd be Virginia and LSU in the Sweet 16 and playing each other. Then it'd be Houston, Michigan State. Then I think it'd be Virginia and Michigan State, and Virginia would get to the Final Four in that case. In the Midwest region, the Kansas City region, the 1 seed would be Kentucky right now against 16 seed Houston State. 8 seed would be UCF against 9 seed Texas. 5 seed Florida State would play the winner of 12 seed Arizona State and TCU. 4 seed Wisconsin would play the 13 seed Vermont. 6 seed Mississippi State would play the 11 seed Minnesota. 3rd seed Texas Tech would play against the 14 seed South Dakota State. 7 seed Cincinnati would play against the 10 seed Ole Miss. 2nd seed North Carolina would play against the 15 seed Colgate. I think it'd be Kentucky and UCF. Then it'd be Arizona State and Vermont. Then it'd be Minnesota and Texas Tech. Then it'd be Ole Miss and North Carolina. Then I think it'd be Kentucky and Vermont in the Sweet 16. Yeah, Vermont might be a dangerous team. And I think it'd be Texas Tech, North Carolina. Then I think it'd be Kentucky and North Carolina in the Elite Eight. And then I think it'd be North Carolina. So I think it'd be Virginia and North Carolina against each other, one Final Four matchup right now. In the West region, it'd be Gonzaga as the 1 seed against the winner, 16 seed Prairie View A&M and St. Francis. 8 seed Washington against 9 seed Syracuse. They're slipping lately. 5 seed Iowa State will play against the 12 seed Belmont. 4 seed Virginia Tech will play against the 13 seed Hofstra. 6 seed Villanova will play against the 11 seed Utah State. 3 seed Kansas will play against the 14 seed UC Irvine. 7 seed Auburn will seed against 10 seed NC State. And 2nd seed Michigan would seed against 15 seed Montana. I think it'd be Gonzaga and Syracuse. Then the IB, Iowa State and Virginia Tech. Utah State and Kansas. Auburn and Michigan. Then I think it'd be Gonzaga and Virginia Tech. Then I think it would be Utah State and an upset against Michigan. Then I think it'd be Michigan. And yes, I think it'd be Michigan and Virginia Tech. Then I think Michigan would get to the Final Four in one semifinal spot. In the South region, it'd be Duke at the 1 seed against 6 seed Campbell. 8 seed Iowa would seed against 9 seed Florida. 5 seed Kansas State would seed against 12 seed New Mexico State. 4 seed Marquette would seed against 13 seed Old Dominion. 6 seed Nevada would seed against 11 seed Alabama. 3rd seed Purdue would seed against 14 Georgia Southern. 7 seed Wofford would seed against 10 seed Ohio State. Then 2 seed Tennessee would seed against 15 seed Wright State. I think it'd be Duke and Florida. Then Kansas State and Old Dominion. Then Alabama, Purdue. Then Ohio State and Tennessee. Then I think it'd be Duke and Kansas State. Then I think it'd be Purdue and Tennessee. Then I think it'd be Duke and Tennessee. Then Duke would be in the semifinal against Michigan. Then I think it'd be Duke and Virginia in the national championship. Then I think Virginia would beat Duke finally. I like Virginia's odds, and we'll see how it goes. That's my prediction right now. Other NFL rumors right now, there's another rumor that Nick Foles might sign with the quarterback rumors right now with the Jaguars. I think they'd be an upgrade if they had Leonard Fournette and some receivers. We'll see. Nick Foles signed with the Jags is a rumor. So is Kyler Murray getting the 1 pick overall with the Cardinals. The Raiders have interest too. Antonio Brown's interest. Teams are interested in him. The Redskins, Titans, and Raiders. Le'Veon Bell's the Raiders are interested in him as well. And Tyrell Williams is being interested by the Raiders. Landon Collins got released by the Giants today, or he's going to be. There's the Colts might sign him. That's a rumor. Those are the NFL rumors right now. Once free agency starts to, then things are going to pick up. So next week's going to be a good podcast, hopefully. And I'll find out for you. NFL, MLB, and basketball, they're all heating up at the right time. Wanted to go over the standings for the NBA real quick. I got to get something. That's why I'm in a rush. And the Bucks clinch a playoff spot. They're the 1st seed overall right now. They're 48-16. The Raptors are second, 2 games back, 46-18. Third, the Pacers 41-23, 7 games back. 7.5 games back, and 4th are the 76ers at 40-23. Celtics are 5th at 38-26. The Pistons are rising up. They're 31-31. The Nets are 7th at 33-33, and the Magic are 30-35 and 8th. The Hornets are right behind them, 29-34. The Heat are 10th at 29-34. Wizards are 26-37 and 11. Hawks are 22-43 and 12. Bulls are 18-46 and 3rd. Cavaliers are 14-48 and 14th, and the Knicks are 13-51 and last. If the playoffs started, it'd be the Magic against the Bucks, 8-1. 5 seed Celtics, 4 seed 76ers, 6 seed Pistons, 3 seed Pacers, and 7 seed Nets and 2nd seed Raptors. In the West, the Warriors are 44-19 in 1st. The Nuggets are 42-21 in 2nd, 2 games back. Excuse me. Thunder are 39-24, 5 games back. The Blazers are 5 games back too at 39-24. Rockets are 6 games back, 38-25. Jazz are 36-27, 8 games back. Clippers are 8.5 games back, 37-29. The Spurs are 36-29 and 8, 9 games back. Kings are 32-31, 3 games back. The Spurs for 9th. The Lakers are 30-34, 14 games back, which is 5 games back. Timberwolves are 39-34. Pelicans are 30-36. Mavericks are 27-36. Grizzlies are 25-40, and the Suns are already out 14-51. So if the playoffs started today, it'd be the 8 seed Spurs against the 1 seed Warriors, 5 seed Rockets and 4 seed Trailblazers, 6 seed Jazz against the 3 seed Thunder, and the 7 seed Clippers against the 2nd seed Nuggets. The games tonight include Chicago and Indiana at 7, Orlando's at Philadelphia at 7, at 8 on TNT is Houston at Toronto, Portland's at Memphis at 8, Oklahoma City's at Minnesota at 8, Boston's at Golden State 10:30 at TNT. Those are the live games for tonight. The NHL standings right now. Oh, John Jones won the MMA fight. That's another big news. In the Eastern Conference, the Lightning are 50-12. Yes. The Bruins are 39-17 in 2nd. The Maple Leafs are 41-21 in 3rd. Canadians are 35-24 in 4th. Sabres are 3-28. They're slipping. They're in 5th. Panthers are 28-26 in 6th. Red Wings are 23-33 in 7th. Senators are 23-38 in 8th. The Metropolitan Capitals are leading at 38-21. The Islanders are 37-21 in 2nd. The Hurricanes are 36-23 in 3rd. Penguins are 34-22 in 4th. Blue Jackets are 36-26 in 5th. They're slipping. Flyers are 32-26 in 6th. They're slipping. Rangers are slipping too. They're 27-27. Devils are 25-33 in 8th. In the Western Conference, the Jets are 39-22. The Predators 38-25 in 2nd. Blues are 34-25 in 3rd. Stars are 13-27 in 4th. Wild are 32-27 in 5th. Avalanche are 28-26 in 6th. And the Blackhawks 27-30 in 7th. The Flames are 41-18 in 1st. Sharks are 39-19 in 2nd. Knights are 36, 26, and third. Coyotes are 32 and 28 and fourth. Oilers are 29 and 30 and fifth. Canucks are 27 and 30 and sixth. The Ducks are 25 and 32 and seventh. The Kings are last at 24 and 33. Excuse me, my apologies. I keep coughing. And the games for the night, I'm looking here. Let's see here. Schedule. Carolina's at Boston at 7. Columbus at New Jersey at 7. Ottawa's at New York at 7. Florida's at Pittsburgh at 7. Winnipeg's at Tampa Bay at 7:30. Minnesota's at Nashville and NBC Sports Network. New York's at Dallas. The Rangers at Dallas. Detroit's at Colorado at 9. That's probably an FS1. Anaheim's at Arizona at 9. Montreal's at Los Angeles at 10:30. And then finally, wanted to go over some NASCAR highlights. Let's see here. That happened. Coming up, we'll have a big week next week. Let's see here. Joey Logano held off Brad Keselowski to wound up winning the race, his first of the year. So we got Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski that have all led laps. Nobody has 3 top 10s right now. There's only one guy that has 3 top 10s right now that's had the best season other than those 3 winners so far, and that has been Kyle Busch. He's had 3 top 10s in 3 races, so I think he should be leading the point standings right now. That's my opinion. He's doing great right now. They're going to Phoenix next week. He's my favorite next week. He's doing really well. Him or Kevin Harvick, one of those two are my favorite. Kurt Busch is another one I like. And Chase Elliott are my 4 favorites going into Phoenix next week. But anyways, Joey Logano finished first. He started 10th. He led 86 laps. Second was Brad Keselowski. He started 19th again, finished second, led 17 laps. Third was Kyle Busch. He started third. He had a pit road penalty. Kind of cost him the race. Led 13 laps, finished third. Fourth was Kevin Harvick. He won the pole. He led 88 laps. Fifth was Kurt Busch. He led it late in the race. He led 23 laps, started 28th. Sixth was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He started 8th. He led 5 laps, finished 6th. Eric Almirola started 25th. He finished 7th, led 0 laps. Martin Truex Jr. Didn't lead a lap. He started 23rd, finished 8th. Chase Elliott didn't lead a lap. He started 12th. He finished 9th. Denny Hamlin didn't lead a lap. Started 2nd, finished 10th. Alex Bowman didn't lead a lap. Started 11th, finished 11th. Kyle Larson had a pit road speeding penalty. He led 0 laps. Started 7th, finished 12th. Eric Jones didn't lead a lap. Started 18th, finished 13th. Clint Boyer had led 0 laps. Started 17th, finished 14th. Paul Menard led 0 laps. Started 15th, finished 15th. William Byron led 21 laps. He started 20th, finished 16th. Daniel Suarez led 12 laps as well. He started 22nd, finished 17th. And Chris Buescher, last guy in the lead lap, led 0 laps, started 27th, finished 18th. Jimmy Johnson finished 1 lap down, led 0 laps, started 9th, finished 19th. Austin Dillon finished 1 lap down, led 2 laps, started 4th, finished 20th. Matthew DiBenedetto, my foot's getting fuzzy again. Yes, led 0 laps, started 26th, finished 21st. Ryan Blaney finished 1 lap down, led 0 laps, started 13th, finished 22nd. 2 laps down, Daniel Hemrick led 0 laps, started 5th, finished 23rd. Ryan Newman led 0 laps, started 29th, finished 24th. Ryan Priest led 0 laps, started 24th, finished 25th, 2 laps down. Led 0 laps, started 21st. Bubba Wallace finished 26th, 2 laps down. 3 laps down, Corey LaJoie led 0 laps, started 30th, finished 27th. David Reagan led 0 laps, started 6th, finished 3 laps down, 28th. Ty Dillon led 0 laps, started 14th, finished 29th. Michael McDowell led 0 laps, started 16th, finished 30th. Parker Kligerman led 0 laps, started 32nd, finished 31st. Landon Castle led 0 laps, started 31st, finished 32nd. Ross Chastain led 0 laps, started 38th, finished 33rd. Matt Tiff led 0 laps, started 35th, finished 35th, 8 laps down low for Ross Chastain. Cody Ware finished 16 laps down, led 0 laps, started 33rd, finished 35th. Reed Sorensen led 0 laps, started 37th, finished 36th, 15 laps down. BJ McLeod, too, led 0 laps, started 34th, finished 37th. He was, 47 laps down. Only on lap 10, Joey Gase finished last, 38th, started 36th, finished last, and 38th. Those are the results from Vegas this week. Just wanted to go over the standings really quick as well for, let's see here, for NASCAR. Also, I was at the Western Hockey game on Saturday night. They lost 8-3. I was there for a while. It was a blowout. First against 10th ranked. I want the standings. I'm trying to get the NASCAR standings, and then I got to get going. I got to grab something from somebody's house. The points leaders, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, all have won races. They're in the chase. Kevin Harvick's in 4th. Kyle Busch has 3 top 10s. That's all I've laid out everybody. He is in 5th. Kyle Larson's running 6th in points. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is 7th. Martin Truex Jr. is 8th. Eric Jones is 9th. Kurt Busch is 10th. Eric Almirola is 11th. 12th is Alex Bowman. 13th is Clint Boyer. 14th is Chase Elliott. 15th is Ryan Blaney. 16th is William Byron. Right outside there, Jimmy Johnson, Daniel Suarez, Ryan Newman, Paul Menard, Austin Dillon, Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Matthew Benedetti, Ryan Priest, Michael McDowell, David Reagan, Corey LaJoy, Daniel Hemrick, Bubba Wallace. Those are the point standings right now for right now. We'll have a big week next week. NFL free agency, MLB stuff, more big deals. We'll see if any injuries happen. NBA NHL standings, more of the tournament. We'll preview all the tournament games next week. We'll have a longer podcast next week. Right now, I got to get going. I got to grab something, get going. I got to sleep a little bit more. And